Have you ever felt that paralyzing wave of indecision? You want to change jobs, you want to start that business, you want to finally tell someone how you feel, but something stops you. It's that voice in your head that whispers, "What if you fail? What if the timing is wrong?" Doubt, hesitation. It's the friction of life. We often think of doubt as a bad thing, a sign of weakness. But what if it's actually a signal that we are out of sync with something much larger than ourselves? We spend so much energy trying to force our way through these mental blocks, seeing them as obstacles to be crushed. But in doing so, we ignore the possibility that the hesitation itself is a form of communication from our environment. We have this incredible capacity for rational thought, but often that rational mind gets trapped in a loop. It tries to control every outcome, every variable, and every potential disaster. But the world is dynamic. It flows. It doesn't wait for your spreadsheet to be perfect. Today, we're going to stop trying to think our way out of doubt and start looking at how to move with it. We're going to explore this struggle through the lens of one of the world's most sophisticated systems for understanding human decision-making, the I Ching, or the Book of Changes. This isn't just an ancient fortune-telling text or a relic of the past. It's a philosophical blueprint for timing and strategic action that has guided leaders and thinkers for over 3 millennia. So, if you're currently standing on a precipice, wondering whether to jump or wait, you might want to stick around for the next few minutes. We aren't just looking for answers, we're looking for an entirely new way to perceive the when of our lives. The core idea of the I Ching is shockingly simple. Everything changes. The seasons, relationships, markets, our own bodies, nothing stays the same. The universe is in a constant state of flux, moving between extremes. When things reach their peak, they begin to decline. When they hit rock bottom, they begin to rise. In a dynamic world, hesitation is often the futile attempt to make things stop, to find a safe moment where nothing will shift. We wait for certainty, but in a universe defined by change, certainty is a static illusion. It is a ghost we chase while the real world moves on without us. The I Ching models this change using 64 fundamental situations, or hexagrams. These hexagrams aren't just abstract symbols, they represent the archetypal shapes of circumstances. They are combinations of two forces, Yang, active, light, assertive, and Yin, passive, dark, receptive. A hexagram is essentially a snapshot of the specific ratio of Yin and Yang at a moment in time. It shows us whether the current environment is expanding or contracting, and how we should adjust our posture to match it. So, where does doubt come from, according to this philosophy? From the I Ching perspective, doubt isn't an internal flaw or a lack of courage. It's an awareness, often subconscious, that your planned action is out of alignment with the temporal flow of your situation. It is the friction you feel when you try to swim against a current you haven't yet identified. You might be hesitating because you're trying to perform a high Yang activity, like starting a forceful initiative or making a bold demand, in a high Yin moment, a time that requires listening, receiving, and gestating. When we get stuck in doubt, it's often because we are obsessed with yes or no. Should I act or should I wait? But the I Ching suggests we ask a much better question. What kind of time is this? For example, consider hexagram 5, waiting or calculated inaction. The imagery is water in the sky, waiting to rain. The clouds are full, the potential is there, but the rain hasn't fallen yet. This is not passive procrastination, it is active preparation. The advice in this situation is not to stop your project, but to gather energy and nourish yourself. Doubt here isn't telling you, don't do it. It's saying, the conditions are still forming. Don't waste your energy pushing against a door that hasn't unlocked yet. Build your foundation so that when the rain finally falls, you are ready to catch it. But what if you're hesitating when the time is right? What if you feel the momentum, the signs are all pointing forward, but you are still stuck in your own head? This is where the I Ching is radical. In many of its situations, the I Ching explicitly tells you that hesitation is fatal. It warns that once the propensity of a situation has tipped in your favor, any further delay is a betrayal of the moment. Consider hexagram 1, the creative force itself. The imagery is of 6 purely active, solid lines, absolute energy. The I Ching describes this state as perseverance. Its ultimate advice is it furthers one to cross the great water. This is a classic idiom for taking a significant, often irreversible step, making the commitment, launching the project, leaping from the cliff. It implies that the preparations are done, the bridge is built, and the only thing left to do is walk across. If you identify a moment of strong propensity, where the trend is moving in your favor, your resources are aligned, the path is clear, then your doubt is nothing more than ego-driven fear. It is the mind's attempt to protect itself from the discomfort of growth. The I Ching would argue that to ignore this timing is to invite stagnation. This is often mapped by hexagram 12, stand still, which represents a time of blockages and communication breakdowns. Stagnation often occurs because we refuse to act when the time was right, and now the energy of the situation has soured. The cost of hesitation isn't just a delay, it can be the total loss of the opportunity itself. Timing, the I Ching teaches, is a finite resource. This sounds profound, but how do we apply this to our modern lives? How do we stop thinking about it and actually gauge our timeliness? We can't always consult the I Ching for every daily choice, but we can train ourselves to spot the shapes it describes. When you feel that hesitation, don't just ask, what if? Ask these 3 questions instead. 1. Is this an internal fear or a structural reality? A structural reality is a missing piece of the puzzle. You need more capital, a specific skill, or a partner. An internal fear is the phantom of what will people think, or am I good enough? Hexagrams teach us to respect structural reality, but to move through internal fear. 2. Am I trying to control the outcome or ride the wave? If you are exhausted because you're trying to force the world to behave a certain way, you are out of alignment. Flowing is working with the trend. Trying to force a product the market doesn't want is trying to control the wave. Riding the wave is seeing where the market is going and positioning yourself to be carried by it. 3. What is the required energy? Does this moment feel yin, receptive, quiet and slow, or yang, active, urgent and fast? If you try to bring yang energy to a yin moment, you will experience doubt as a warning. If you bring yin energy to a yang moment, you will experience doubt as a missed opportunity. If the situation is screaming, wait and prepare, your doubt is a wise advisor. It's telling you to build more strength. If the situation is screaming, the great water is ready to cross, and you have already done the work, your hesitation is just your shadow. Your task is to commit. Overcoming hesitation isn't about eliminating doubt. It's about changing our relationship with it. When we realize we aren't isolated agents fighting against a chaotic, random world, but active participants in a system that has seasons, patterns and trends, our doubt changes. It stops being a weight around our necks and starts being a compass. Doubt stops being an emotional failure and starts being a critical data point. It's an invitation to check our timing. It asks us, are you moving because you're hurried or because the time is right? Are you stopping because you're scared or because the world is telling you to wait? So, I want to challenge you. The next time you feel that heavy, familiar hesitation, don't just ruminate on the fears. Step back. Look at the shape of your life right now. Ask yourself, what shape of time am I in? Are you in a period of gathering, building your strength in a time of waiting? Or are you standing at the edge of the great water, and the tide is at its peak, waiting for you to finally move? Don't wait for certainty. In a world defined by change, certainty is a myth that keeps us small. Wait for clarity of time. And when you find it, move with everything you have.